Hello, everyone, and welcome. I am Megan Kavinsky. I am the CEO of Point to Point, and I am thrilled to be able to introduce you today to Chris Lalonde. Welcome, Chris.
Thanks, Megan. Pleasure to be here.
Great. Well, can you give our audience a little bit about your background and who you are?
Sure, Megan. I'm Chris Lalonde. I'm the Architectural Business Development Manager for W&W Glass. We are based in Nanuet, New York, which is about 20 miles north of New York City. I help develop our sales and marketing initiatives, but my main function here is at W&W is the development of specialty structural glass projects throughout the country with our engineered structural glass systems. These are systems that we supply throughout the United States to other contract glaziers, and that we all do our in-house engineering here, and all the logistics supply those systems to those customers. We also have another side of our business with W&W Glass, and that's as a union contract glazier. So we do a lot of our own install of those systems here in New York City. We've got a lot of background experience on putting those in addition to doing large-scale unitized curtain wall, stick curtain wall, custom ornamental metal products, things of that nature that we install with our crew of about 150 iron workers and glaziers. So that's kind of our business in a nutshell. We kind of have these two sides of the business working in tandem.
Yeah, it's such an interesting business with both the install and the specification side of it. And I think it's so virtuous for you guys how they both work together, how what you learn on the spec side makes you better installers, and how what you learn on the install side makes you better specifiers. So, it's just, I think, very cool to look at the evolution of W&W Glass and where you guys are today.
Absolutely.
One of the things about where you are today is that you've recently launched a new product. And so the topic that we're really going to be talking about today is launching new products in a competitive market. So the marketplace that you operate in is not new, it's not short on competitors, and you saw an opportunity to launch a new product, the Insight system. So I was hoping you could explain to us a little bit more about what the Insight system is to ground our audience in understanding your product before we talk about all the ways that you thought about going to market.
Sure, absolutely. So Insight is our brand name for the collection of especially structural glass systems that we in-house engineer and provide to the market. These systems, have a lot of different options, and there's a lot of different ways we can engineer and provide them. A lot of these systems have fittings that can connect the glass to a backup structure that we engineer, whether it be laminated glass fins, tension cables, steel plate beams, or steel mullions, or we can even do systems that are free span glass with large glass panes of insulating glass that can just free span up in an opening and just attach to the top and bottom with some sort of perimeter channel. So there's a lot of different ways we can do our structural glass systems. It just depends on the project design, aspirations, the size, and of course, budgets always.
Mm-hmm. What people have budgets? This isn't unlimited in your world? Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, the stuff that you guys do is absolutely amazing. The project pictures that we've seen, or even the opportunity to see it up close at the LaGuardia terminal when I was going through there, it's just amazing to see what you guys have been able to install. So, so you're launching Insight. It's a competitive market. Like, why are you doing this now? What did you see happening in the market that you said, hey, this is sort of a crowded marketplace and there's a lot of competitors out there. Let me bring a new product into the market, right? Why did you guys decide to do this at this moment in time?
So there's a few different reasons why we decided to launch our Insight brand in the market. I'd like to step back just for a second. So for many years, we had done specialty structural glass systems of point supported glass with a partner out of England that manufactured the system, but we did all the heavy lifting for engineering, supply, and often installation in New York City of these systems for over 28 years with that partner. During COVID, as you can imagine, a lot of companies went out of business, unfortunately, And that was the vision of that manufacturer that was shut down. That was the Pilkin and Planar system that is no longer manufactured. So, leading up to that, however, we were doing some very custom, unique installations outside of that point-supported glass realm here in New York City. A lot of jumbo glass and custom exotic build structures and things like that for these podiums in New York City. So we had some ideas that we wanted to do more. We saw an opportunity to do more with kind of a hole in the market without that planar system. So we decided we were going to launch our own systems on a brand Insight to fulfill that gap in the market that was there. There's certainly other folks out there that are doing different types of structural glass systems in different capacities. Some are engineers that then broker a product, or some are manufacturing some products, but then broker out the engineering and amalgamation of both, or sometimes sub out installation. We feel that we're really a one-stop full service provider of these systems, and we've teamed up with high quality fabricators now worldwide to be able to provide high quality products. You have highly engineered systems, many more often than not fully tested systems that we provide to the market with the same W&W Glass service that we've always had for our customers, even when we were doing the point-supported glass systems. So really, it was business as usual in terms of the service level provided, but we're now have this great expanded offering that we had the opportunity now to provide to the market, where we really didn't have that opportunity in the past prior to 2021 to be able to do some of these really cool, exciting, unique applications that I think the market has been driving towards for many years, at least for a decade now, wanting greater transparency, larger spans of glass, less visible fittings, things like that.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, what do you see as the design trends that the Insight system probably is unique in their ability to meet some of what architects are able to envision now, right? Like and that was a big part of why you did it, that you saw a gap in, the architects don't want gaps. They want seamless windows, right? And that you're uniquely able to create a product that can do that. So what else do you see in terms of design trends behind that's driving the system?
So in terms of design trends, we see that a lot of lobby areas and older buildings are less, since COVID especially, are less occupied. A lot of building owners want to jazz up the lobby and make a feature area, focal point of that building for new clientele to come in and take over office space, or take over space in a building, or to attract new tenants to a large residential building or something like that. So they're putting in some feature areas in these buildings, and they're looking for transparency. They don't want a dark lobby anymore. That's a thing of the past. A lot of the older buildings had very dark lobbies. They want a lot of light coming in. They wanted to feel airy. They wanted to have an architectural feature. They wanted to differentiate their building from someone else's building. And we're giving architects and owners that tool with the Insight system to be able to have large expanses of glass without horizontal interruptions and mullions and things like that. They can use glass for the vertical mullions, or a tension cable right behind the joint, or combination of both in some applications for large atriums. They're driving towards larger pieces of glass. They don't want to have all the joints in there like they had before, and the fittings. So we've come up with systems that have concealed dead load shelves to load the glass onto, and to bond it with structural silicone back to a backup structure. So that way you don't have holes in the glass and fittings that need special fabrication. It can be very costly. And there's just a limited amount of people that do that type of product well throughout the world at this point. So, we've really honed in on some of these trends that we're seeing and these desires by the architectural community to differentiate. And, they're tired of kind of doing the same old status quo. They're looking to do some things that are advanced. And there are now fabricators out there in the metal and glass arena that can do some very, very nice custom precision work, and could do larger pieces of glass and do them at a fairly economical price point in terms of global supply. I think in the United States, fabricators someday, may put in additional equipment to really achieve some of the levels that the European market especially has gotten to. They've had a lot of, jumbo glass fabrication capability, especially there, do some, special notching and drilling and things like that. But at some point, hopefully the domestic market will get there. But I think, with some of the high quality fabricators and partners we've been working with on New York projects in general, even prior to us launching Insight, we had a good baseline of knowing who can do what best. And we've been able to leverage those strengths of those fabricators to supply these systems with our own in-house engineering.
Yeah. Well, I liked that you said transparent because, with Insight, the future is transparent. That is the tagline for the product. But the thing, you've mentioned it twice now, the fabricators and those relationships. So I want to talk a little bit more about those. I mean, when you're doing a system like this, who you decide to work with can make or break the product itself. So how have you identified which partners you're going to work with? Tell me more about the relationships that you've established or are establishing, and how you really bring that system together between W&W Glass, metal, glass, all the different partners that are critical to making such an important part of the building come to life.
Sure. So we've developed some deep-rooted relationships with a lot of these partners over years of work as a contract glazer ourselves. For us, we have very important customers, certainly like anyone else, that we're providing supply and installed product on. So we want to make sure we're giving them the proper quality level, and the proper product must come in the right way. I mean, if I've got a bunch of glaziers waiting on a site for glass to be delivered to put in, time is money. So we have to have it fabricated right the first time to the proper quality level. Otherwise, I'm not going to be able to put it in, and we have delays and that type of thing. So we've more often than not visited these fabricators, or had a third party even visit these fabricators to vet them out, to make sure that they can do what they say they will do. And we've been provided a lot of material over the years from these fabricators to know that they have certain core competencies to provide what they say they're going to provide when when we're working with them on projects. So we can trust in them that they're going to deliver on the material quality and the performance that we need for these projects. So we've been, again, as a contract glazer, we've had these developed for many years with these fabricators prior to Insight. We've just been leveraging these partners now to be able to provide them for our structural glass side of the business nationwide, and we can count on them. Now, it is a challenge, certainly, to be able to bring everything together, right? There's to be able to get the material from one fabricator to the right quality, and then you have to get it shipped in, and you have to deliver it a certain way. And there's a lot of different things that go into that, let alone we have to be able to advise our customers on how do they put these things in. How do you manage a jumbo piece of glass that's 10 foot wide and 20 foot tall or 25 foot tall and put that in? So we work with our customers directly to help them with their plans for erecting these types of systems, so that they go in there with confidence, and when they're bidding these systems with us installed, they can go in there with confidence that they're going to be able to do okay on those projects and not get hurt in any way. So we bring all that together for them. They don't have to worry about the logistics of it all. It's being delivered often to site or their shop, depending on the size of the project. And we work with the fabricators that are required for the right fit on the project. We know their strengths, and we leverage that when we go into these projects. That's kind of the way we generally work with this, and it's all comes down to experience. I think the experience that we have and the know-how we have as a team to be able to engineer and install these systems. It's decades upon decades of experience that we use going into these projects.
It's just sort of dawning on me as you were describing all of that, that there's the engineering part when you're doing all this, and then there's also the logistics part, because, and what's triggering it for me is I was talking to an architect earlier today, and they were talking about, while the supply chain crisis may be over-ish, that still there's suppliers that when you miss that deadline, their window, and especially, I guess, pun intended here, maybe, of when their product is supposed to be installed or delivered to the job site, the delays and the impact that it can have on the overall project schedule and the cost overruns. And so thinking about all the different partners and details that go into the products and needing to get it right the first time. I mean, I hope your logistics team is, is well compensated, because that's no short order for them to make sure this all goes smoothly.
Very true. Very true.
Yeah. The other thing that you mentioned, and that has to do with the partnerships, is the testing. Certainly in a product like yours, there's quite a bit of testing that needs to go into it. And you have all these different configurations and, so can you take me through the process of what's been tested and how you guys think about what you need to build confidence in the new product?
Sure. So in terms of the way we go about testing, so anytime we're offering, new products in our custom products that may not have ever been quite that configuration, we're going through a process of developing a plan for a mock-up. We're developing the testing procedures. We're figuring out what we need to test, the right sizes to be able to fit the application. We're running, and then we're going to develop that over the course of months, really, to be able to get prepared to get to a testing lab to run those ASTM type tests for air, water, dynamic air and water, with big propeller spinning up and firing rain at that facade, try and get the thing to leak. Seismic movements, live load movements. There's a whole barrage of different testing. Condensation resistance also important. Acoustics in some cases that we go through to make sure the systems will perform as intended and that there won't be issues down the road. That gives the customer and client a lot of confidence in that. And we do that a lot with our systems. One recent one that we tested, I guess last year, was our dead load shelf system, which we actually prepared for a large project in Erie, Pennsylvania, that had 58-foot long fins. As far as I know, they're just recently installed now, but prior to that, they're going to be the tallest free span fins in North America, as far as I know, at 58 foot tall, unspliced. So there's no metal connecting fins together. So it's pretty exciting territory in that. But regardless, we tested for that, we were determined to test a 36-foot tall mock-up to prove out the glass fin assembly, to prove out the connection of the concealed dead load shelf, to prove out the glass makeup that we were using, the silicone, the structuralist glass corner where we had to return back without a fin in the corner. And we designed all that into the mock-up and did all the full testing of that to prove that design out, and even had the design team as well as the contractor come out to see the testing and to prove and see with their own eyes, this is how this gets done. We even had our partner who's installing that system come out and see how it all goes together and fits together. I mean, that's the kind of lengths we go to with our systems to show that these are fully tested. You can rely on them, and what you're going to get is a high quality system that will last for years and years to come. But there's a lot that goes into that, and you need time to test. So if there's a brand new system that wasn't tested prior that we're doing, a new design system, or more often than not, we need to leave some time for some testing, somewhere between 8 months to a year, just to make sure we get everything fully approved prior to fabrication of that project.
Well, it was a good relationship building moment too, to have everyone on site, your partners, the customer, building trust and confidence all the way through the value chain there. That was good that you guys, did that for many different reasons. I was also, as you were talking about all the testing, coming off of last week's storms that hit New York City. I think that was last week. There was this picture that was, I think, on the front of CNN showing a building in New York City that was swaying. I forget which building it was, but I think it probably was, taking advantage of all the testing that had been done on it, as you mentioned, wind and precipitation. I don't know, all the different things that were there.
Absolutely.
Yeah, put all the installs to the test, right?
Absolutely, and you really are only as good as the installation, right? So you got to make sure that your partners that you're working with that are putting in these systems know what they're doing, which is why we always provide a W&W Glass supervisor on every one of our structural glass supplied projects and your projects, just to make sure it goes in properly.
So if I'm in San Francisco and I'm installing Insight, I'm going to have someone from W&W Glass that's there, that's helping with the project install itself, making sure it's going the way it should.
Yes.
That's great. So you started to talk a bit about some of the cool projects that you have. You mentioned the one with the largest fins. Tell me about some of the other installs, and also talk about how you got the architect to have confidence that you could do the install with this system, given that it is new. I think we all know that architects are, eager to try new things and want to achieve their vision, but at the same time reticent to be the first to try a new product. want to see it proven in real life a little bit more. And this is such an integral part of the building, the structure itself. You know, how are you getting the confidence from the architects to get these cool installs that you're going to tell us about also?
Sure. So we a lot of times will go first showcase what we've done that is maybe similar to what that design concept is that they're looking to do or achieve. Something, if it's something that we haven't quite done before, to kind of instill confidence that we're the right partners to be working with on this and develop that design with. And then we from there, we work with them on customizing that design and giving them the options and details that they're looking for to be able to go in and then do any kind of testing if required. But if, say, it's a system that's tested, then obviously we have the ability just to provide that system on the project. A couple projects in particular that come to mind that are kind of out of the realm of what some folks would call normal projects. They can kind of bespoke type applications or large scale applications. One comes to mind that's a confidential fabrication or manufacturing facility in Texas that had free span jumbo glass that we engineered and supplied on the project and helped the installation on. That was 9'2" wide and 32'6" tall. So you can imagine this is just a big insulating glass unit rising up the whole 32 feet and 9'2" wide. You can't even reach your arms out to the joints on either side between the panels. There's 40,000 square foot of this. So it's a sheer wall of glass, a true wall of glass. And it was a 7-ply makeup that we engineered. 5 plies facing the outside with a solar control OE coating on the number 10 surface, and then 2 plies in the inboard light, creating that unit that creates the full makeup. And that system is just held in and by a channel at the top and bottom connected to structure, and the glass is loaded to the structure itself. So I mean, that was a really exotic, unique application of this product, and we're able to give them confidence just from the backlog of work that we've done, the years of experience with our engineering team and structural glass projects, thousands over the years, really, of structural glass projects, to instill that they were working with the right partner on this, people that knew what they were doing. We're installers ourselves and know how to put these in, and we could advise them best on sourcing this product as well. These were custom runs of glass that had to be made, of low iron glass that had to be procured well ahead of fabrication. Because they're only running that type of glass in these types of sizes, maybe once a year, twice a year. So you had to kind of hit those runs. There was a lot that went along with that, but that's the value in working with a partner like us. We're looking at when is this being run, or when is this coating being done? Is this what is the right fit in terms of the right fabricators and providers for the projects to fit in the schedules, aside from budgets, of course. And one other project that I think is worth mentioning is the 2 Manhattan West lobby. We had previously done the 1 Manhattan West lobby with a 46-foot tall glass fin with a custom stainless profile off the front with concealed dead load shelves off that profile. 10-foot wide glass, it was 3-ply laminated glass, and some of those panels were almost 16-foot tall. You can imagine massive kind of pieces of glass going up the 46-foot spans, and just a 46-foot tall free span glass fin, multiply glass fin. So it kept and this was a columnless, lobby. So it was just a core structure in the middle. So there was no columns around the outside. You could really look right through this facade in Manhattan. We did so well on that we got a shot at doing the second one. And for that one, the challenge was we'd like to do what you did on the first one, but without glass fins. So we came up with a custom cable tension wall system that generally you would use some sort of fitting to hold the glass in. So we were tasked to come up with a way to support the glass without a visible fitting. So we came up with another concealed dead load shelf that tied to the cables that was concealed in the silicone joints. And we came up with a way to connect to a receiving profile on the back side of the glass to be able to connect to clamps on the cables. And then we shrouded the cables so you couldn't see any of the guts of the system. So you couldn't see the tension cables or the clips or anything. It just looks like very thin shroud of stainless steel going up over 50 feet for a similar type lobby to what we did on the other side. So really exciting bespoke stuff, and all fully tested for high wind loads, for a ton of cycling, as if we were to get a hurricane in Manhattan again, like Hurricane Sandy. And a fully vetted out system with redundancy. So that's, I think, what we bring to the table, to be able to do these unique applications like this and large scale projects. But we also can do smaller projects as well that are maybe a 1,600 or 2,000 square foot canopy or glass wall that's a little less engineering intensive, so to speak.
I mean, all of those are just sort of mind-boggling in terms of what you're doing with glass, and that it's a structural component to the building, and can basically see right through without any seeing. I mean, it's just amazing. How much does a big panel like that weigh? Like what is?
So like the panels at that project in Texas, the panels were over 12,000 pounds a piece.
My
12,000
God.
pounds. So you can
Yeah,
imagine that the setting equipment to do that, the counterbalanced manipulator off of a
yeah.
crane, and the amount of tonnage on the back, just so that could balance the weight out and then release the weight and not flip up. It's practically an art and a dance.
Yes. Oh my God. I would be holding my breath the whole time. I definitely was not built to do that type of work.
Not
So,
built for the heart.
one of the things that you mentioned is that you got adoption by starting with people who knew you and trusted you to begin with, right? Is what you were saying when I asked you how you got architects to begin specifying this. And certainly what you described before about the testing and the detail and the relationships that you build, I get that. And I think that's good advice, that when you're launching a new product like this, start with the customers that know and trust you already and get them to adopt it. But what else are you doing now? How else are you getting the word out in the market about Insight?
Sure. We're doing a lot of work on our website with Point to Point to be able to develop, or basically adjust some of the copy, adjust the design, the theme, add expanded content to the website to be able to explain the story and our offering better to our publics of our systems. We're also looking at some different advertising avenues through LinkedIn, Google Ads, different conferences as well. In addition to kicking up with some additional work with our external reps and face-to-face meetings with some of our clients out there. We've got now some newer real world applications, I'd say over the past 2 years, outside of the New York City area and market, that we can showcase to explain the systems, and they can get a visual on a real world application of that product or design of the Insight system that we are talking about for projects. So that's certainly been a way we've kind of gone to market now, and we plan to really kick things forward in a high gear this year to really get the word out, so people have a greater understanding of what Insight can do for their projects, what kind of options are, and how we collaborate together. I mean, I think that's our biggest key, is let us help you with our experience, collaborate with you to help you on your design, make something that's buildable and biddable ultimately. It's hard. Architects' jobs are hard enough as it is. They've got to be a jack of all trades, and you can't expect people to know every application in the market and every detail. So we're there to help them kind of free of charge, just work together with them to try and help them specify something that's biddable and buildable, and that's something that they know they can trust will perform.
And the earlier in the project, the better, right? With an architect, because you're such an important, part of the structure.
Yeah, especially for loading considerations. So, a lot of times we interface with their structural engineering team in the schematic design, early design development, just to make sure they can support the type of structural glass system that they may be envisioning. And if they can't, there may be other options. Between one system or another, we can help them work through the different options that could suffice for their opening that they're looking at there.
So if I'm an architect and I'm listening to this and I'm interested in your product, how do I best get in touch with you?
You can always give us a direct call. I won't throw the number out there, but you can go. We have it right on our website. Give us a direct call. You can always drop us a line on our contact form on our website. You can give any. You can also send us a direct email. You can reach out through your local representative, certainly, and we can hook up that way. We'd be happy to come and do a lunch and learn for you, try and get some more information in others' hands, the public. But those are your typical ways, and we're at your service. We're available Monday through Friday, certainly, to help you out. So we'd love to get involved if you have a project out there.
Well, thanks, Chris. That was great. I mean, amazing to see what you guys have created and how successful the launch has been. And, really excited to get some of these new project profiles, out and in the market for you too. Because what the beauty of what you're able to do and the engineering behind it really, like I said earlier, is mind-boggling. So thank you so much for sharing that with everyone today. I learned a lot. I'm sure other people did too.
Thank you very much, Megan. Appreciate the time and thanks for the discussion. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, likewise. All right. Bye-bye. Thanks,
Bye.
everyone.